Why the heck would I want to do clue scrolls, Mr. Jakeyosaurus? I'm glad you asked, Mr. Wannabe Clue Scroller. Now sit your little behind down and Jakey will tell you. So if you didn't know, last Thursday, or the 11th of April if you're watching this way in the future, Mr. Future Man, Mr. Jagex released a new clue scroll expansion which included a new type of clue scroll, being beginner clues, and new rewards for every type of clue scroll, even the existing ones. And even before the update, clue scrolls are pretty profitable, but now they're even more so because of the new rewards and they're still expensive. So in this video, I'm going to show you multiple ways, including the best ways, to get each type of clue scroll, going from the new ones being beginner, all the way to easy, medium, hard, elite, and masters. Masters of which are my favorite because, you know, because there's a alright pet at the end of them, I heard. Also ranking their clue scrolls in their profitability from 1 to 10. So pay attention and let's learn the best ways to acquire the clue scrolls. So we're going to start with beginner clues, and I'm going to say this now, but opening impling jars is by far the fastest way to get any type of clue scroll, but it's damn expensive, and sometimes it's not even worth it. So I'm only going to gloss over implings when we go to each clue scroll tier, since you're probably here looking for alternate ways to get clue scrolls without using implings. So while we are on the topic, the implings that you can open for beginner clues are baby and young implings, but you should note that young implings also drop easy clues. So for me, when I was grinding out some beginner and easy clues, I bought young implings, since then I could do beginner and easy clues at the same time, since it dropped both of them. There's not a lot to say here other than you'll make some of the money back from the impling loot, but you'll probably lose most of it, unless you land a unique from the beginner clues. So you don't want to do implings, huh? That's right, you could do Minotaurs instead. Now Minotaurs have been estimated to be one of the best ways to get beginner clues, and they also drop easy clues. The estimated rate of their beginner clue drop rate is 1 in 64. The only downside of this method, in my opinion, is once you've completed a beginner clue, which doesn't take very long, you have to run quite a while to actually get to the Minotaurs and start killing them. But other than that, you can cannon them, it's in multi. So I just bring blowpipe and some armadillos so you can attack, help out your cannon and kill them real fast. And as soon as you get a clue scroll, you can just empty your cannon and then go do the clue scroll, and then just come right back and fill up your cannon once you've done the clue scroll, and you need another one. But if you don't like running too far to get to whatever you're killing for clue scrolls, then the next method is ideal. So next up is hill giants. This is part of the update they just did today actually, where a new batch of monsters now drop the beginning clue scrolls, and from my testing, out of all of these, hill giants seem to be the best for two reasons. I killed hill giants for 35 minutes and I got an average drop rate of 1 in 32. Actually, it was 1 in 34.5, but that's pretty close to the usual 1 in 32, so I'm guessing the drop rate is 1 in 32. This would make sense because hill giants are higher level than like Minotaurs. And not only this, but when you kill hill giants, you have a 1 in 128 chance of getting a giant key, and a giant key gives you 1 kill of Obor, and in this update, Obor always drops a beginner clue. So effectively, you have a 1 in 32 chance of getting a beginner clue, and you have a 1 in 128 chance of getting a giant key, which gives you a beginner clue drop. Which means you can get a beginner clue from hill giants on average in about 2 minutes. It's pretty good and pretty accessible too. I got champion scrolls for testing hill giants. Easy. Nice. But if I had to recommend one of these methods, I would definitely go with Minotaurs, since if you have the Skull Scepter imbued, you skip the runtime since you basically teleport right on top of them, and then you go down the ladder through the doors, and then you're there. They're in a very compact place, so it's very good for blowpipe because it's got short distance and cannon to absolutely devour them. Overall, doing beginner clues right now is actually pretty okay. The notable drops you can get from beginner clues are the shoulder parrot, which is going for over $1 mil right now, all the scimitar ornament kits, which are going for about 500k plus, and the mole slippers, which are also going for about 500k, 700k. So I'd keep an eye on those prices. Once they drop below like 300k, it's probably not worth doing beginner clues anymore. But for now, 4.5 out of 10. Now for easy clues, we're starting to get to the juicier clues. So right now, easy clues are very much worth doing because of the 50 mil cape that you could potentially get from them, the Cape of Skulls. So in this case, doing imps is probably worth it if you manage to get a Cape of Skulls. And the imps you'll want to do are either young implings or baby implings. There's not a lot to say here, you could do implings if you want, but let's move on to the non-impling methods. So by far the best method that isn't implings is pickpocketing ham people. So this is east of Draenor, use your glory to amulet, teleport to Draenor, run east, and then once you're in the trapdoor, you can start pickpocketing ham members. So per pickpocket, you have a 1 in 50 chance of getting an easy clue scroll, and you can see that I'm using full ham robes here. Now all ham robes does is if you fail to pickpocket them and they catch you, you have less of a chance of getting kicked out, meaning you'll save time because you don't have to run back to the hideout. So if you've got low thieving and you get caught occasionally, then wear full ham because then you won't get kicked out as often. And yeah, here you can expect to get an easy clue within like 2 minutes. Now for whatever reason, if you don't want to do any thieving, the next option is not as fast, but you can kill thugs in very low level wilderness in Edgeville Dungeon. Make sure you bring a Ring of Wealth imbued. This way you'll get easy clue scrolls at twice the drop rate, so you'll get them twice as quick. So that takes the thugs 1 in 128 drop rate down to 1 in 64. You don't have to bring a cannon to any of these places, but it's just useful to bring a cannon and kill stuff slightly faster. And here you can expect to get an easy clue within 5 to 10 minutes. Now if you don't want to go to the wilderness, which is fair if you're a hard crime man or you just don't want to go to the wilderness, these methods aren't amazing, but they're the best after thugs, which is Minotaurs and Banshees. Minotaurs are better than Banshees, but Minotaurs are multi and there's lots more of them in a confined area, so you can cannon them, whereas Banshees are more sparse and it's single combat, and they have a Slayer requirement. As for notable drops, you've got gold trimmed monk robes, gold apron, golden chef's hat, cape of skulls, vestment robes like Zamrock robe bottoms and stuff like that, along with trimmed wizard armor, which is all pretty good. The rest isn't that good. Also leather body G, that's quite new and a couple mil. So easy clues are pretty solid. I'll give them another 6 out of 10. Alright, so now we're moving on to the big clues. So medium clues are probably the most consistent money-wise clues you're ever going to do on any of the clue scrolls. And so because of this, I would highly recommend that you use Eclectic Implings. If you're going to do Eclectic Implings, please make sure you can afford like at least 10,000 Implings. I say this because effectively Ranger Boots are 1 in 250 per clue. And getting a medium clue from Implings is 1 in 25. So effectively you have to buy 25 Implings for every clue scroll you can do. So if you do 25 times 250, that gives you 7,500 Implings. But then I'd say get 10,000 just in case you go dry. If you go dry on Ranger Boots, you end up losing money, but as soon as you get Ranger Boots, you make about between 1 and 3 mil an hour. Depends how much the clues cost you, and depends how much the Ranger Boots sell for. But this is the only clue scroll I would highly recommend. Like, I would actually recommend doing Implings, because you can still profit while using Implings. But you do not want to do Implings, that's fine. So the next method is Falador Guards. Now Falador Guards are 1 in 128 for a medium clue scroll drop, so you just cannon them in the middle of Falador. And if you've done the Falador medium diary, that means their drop rate drops to 1 in 106. So you'll get them slightly faster. Here you can expect to get a medium clue in around 5 minutes. It's a cheap alternative to Eclectic Implings. I'd highly recommend doing guards if you don't want to splash money or you don't have the money to splash on Implings. Now for whatever reason you don't want to do guards, that's fine. So this method is slightly dangerous. You have to go into the wilderness to Ice Plateau. This method is Ice Warriors at Ice Plateau in the wilderness. Now if you don't have the Lunar Teleport for Ice Plateau, that's fine. If you go to World 330 and find someone's house who has Ice Plateau Teleport, you can just use that there. Make sure you bring a Ring Wealth imbued and a cannon, and you just set it up where I set it up and just cannon Ice Warriors. These are 1 in 64 in the wilderness if you have a Ring of Wealth imbued on, and so you can get a medium clue from these guys in between 5 and 10 minutes on average. Now from all the clue scrolls, medium clues are the most consistent. Like I said, money wise, you can expect to get a certain amount of money back after a certain amount of time. And depending how fast you do medium clues are one of the best ways to get master clues, so medium clues I highly recommend. 9 out of 10. Okay, so hard clues and elite clues, this is the part of the video where I'm going to drop some hard maths on you, but when I drop hard maths, I'm going to drop the calculations on screen and I'll just explain the results. So I'm not actually going to go through the calculations, but you can read them if you want. The absolute best way to get hard clues is of course Implings. The one thing I can say about Implings is if you use Magpie Implings, you'll break even. If you sell the clue loot and the Magpie Impling loot, you'll break even with the Impling costs. So then any good uniques you get from the hard clues, there will be profit, but everything else is just break even. So now the next best way to get hard clues is barraging warped jellies in the Corrend Catacombs. So all the maths is going to be on the screen, but basically you get a hard clue between every 7 and 8 minutes, so about 7.5 minutes. So you use a blowpipe to lure them into a spot, then you lure them all on top of each other by running around a corner, and then you barrage them. This way you kill them very fast. Obviously this costs money because you're barraging them, but this does come out to a total of 8.9 clues an hour. That's 8.4 clues from the drops and half of a clue scroll per hour because you get 1.5 totem pieces an hour. Totem pieces can be used to fight Scottizo, who always gives you a hard clue, and he has a 1 in 5 chance of giving you an elite. This means that warped jellies also give you 0.1 elite clue scrolls per hour. Otherwise you're paying about 100k per hard clue at jellies because their drops aren't amazing. You can get some rune full helms which might take some of it back, which might cut the cost to about 60k per hard clue, but that's by far the best way outside of Implings. But you don't want to barrage. I want to actually make profit while getting hard clues. Well then, I have the method for you. This is the method I used for doing 300 hard clues for the Yuri emote back when I did that like a year or two ago, which is green dragons. It's quite simple. You go to the west dragon spot in the wilderness and you just kill them as fast as possible. Again, I'll throw the maths on screen, but the cost an hour is about 500k, just under, and the loot an hour is nearly 1.4 mil, meaning the profit an hour is about 900k an hour. So you make 900k and you get 5 clue scrolls per hour, so it's about 12 minutes per hard clue scroll at Green Dragons. Bear in mind, anything in the wilderness, you need to bring a Ring of Wealth imbued to get the improved hard clue drop rate. Now I'm just going to mention this method because it's like slightly worse than Green Dragons, but it's a good alternative, and this is killing Aviancies with a crossbow in the Wilderness God Wars dungeon. I did a whole video on Aviancies in the Wilderness with the crossbow, so you can go back and watch that if you want. I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's basically 700k profit an hour, and it's 5 clue scrolls per hour. Now you're saying, 12 minutes, that's way too long. I want something quicker. Well, there really isn't anything much quicker. I have one last method, because everyone does this, and I don't know why, because it's really garbage, which is Hellhounds. Hellhounds in the Wilderness, I went with a blowpipe and a cannon, and it took 9 minutes to get 32 kills. With a Ring of Wealth imbued, Hellhounds have a 1 in 32 chance of dropping a hard clue scroll. This means you get 6.6 clues an hour, which is faster than Green Dragons, but it also costs 700k an hour in blowpipe and cannon costs. So it's nearly as expensive as barraging Jellies, which is nearly 9 clues an hour. So you should probably either just do Jellies or Magpie Implings, because the time you would save would just be worth it. Hellhounds are pretty terrible. I'm only putting the method here because people will say that, oh my god, you didn't mention Hellhounds. Hellhounds are really bad. They're not good, like, at all. Kill something else for hard clues, please. So those are all the good methods for hard clues. If you're looking for something else, the next best method is honestly, so if you want to get hard clues outside of the Wilderness and you don't want to barrage Jellies or use Implings, kill Aviancies with a blowpipe in the real God Wars dungeon, because any method that isn't the methods I've already mentioned will take minimum at least twice as long to get a hard clue. So me personally, I would recommend Green Dragons, since you make 900k an hour and you get hard clues pretty fast in 12 minutes. Probably get an average clue loot of about 150k. Even when you don't get uniques, you still get good loot. And hard clues also have very notable drops, such as all of the D'hide boots, the D'hide blessed shields. They're all expensive, which aren't too rare either. All the ornament kits, the new dual scion thieving bags, and of course gilded and a very rare chance at 3rd age. Overall, hard clues are pretty fun. They're arguably easier than medium and easies because their clues are much more simple. So I would give hard clues a solid 7.5 out of 10. So finally we've got to the big boys, the elite clue scrolls. Now you'd think, hard clues take like 10 minutes to get, so elites, how long should they take? What, like 20, 30, 40 minutes? No. If you use any method except the ones that I'm about to show you, getting elite clues takes like between 2 and 3 hours, or even more. I've always said elite clue scrolls take way too long to get, but whatever, these are the best methods to get elite clue scrolls. So by far, obviously, Implings, they're dumb expensive, and even I wouldn't do them, except when this clue scroll expansion got released because I wanted to get Mimic. You can do Dragon Implings if you want, they're very expensive and you'll lose a lot of money. So moving on to the way more sustainable way of getting elites, and the way I got elites when I was farming master clues a year or 2 ago. This is lava dragons. So there's multiple ways you can kill lava dragons. If you're soloing, you can attack 3 spawns of lava dragons and venom one of them, and then just DPS between the other 2 spawns. Then while you're killing the other 2 spawns back and forth, the 3rd spawn, which you venomed with your trident, will slowly die. That way you can maximize the kills now. So soloing lava dragons is about 102 kills an hour, and since this is in the Wilderness, you need a Ring of Wealth imbued, and that also takes their drop rate down from 1 in 250 to 1 in 125. So if you get 102 kills an hour, that means it will take you 73.5 minutes to get a clue scroll. Along with that, it's also about 2 mil profit an hour, like 1.5 to 2 mil profit an hour solo. You've been saying solo a lot. What do you mean? What, can you duo? Heck yeah, you can duo. If you duo, you can either use an alt account or one of your friends. I'll not use one of your friends, but ask for their assistance. Anyway, if you duo lava dragons, you'll get 180 kills an hour, which is a 76% increase in your kills per hour. And the way you do this, again, is you use all 3 spawns. So you, the person who wants the elite clue scroll, gets the dragon down to about 45% HP, and then you move on to the next dragon. And as you move on to the next dragon, your partner then finishes off the dragon that you just got to 45% HP. So then by the time your partner has killed that first dragon, the second dragon is probably about 45% HP from you DPSing it. Then you move on to the 3rd spawn, and your partner goes to the 2nd spawn, and you just continue that until you get a clue scroll. So this way it's 180 kills an hour, like I said. Your profit is also going to go up a bit, so you can get up to like 3, maybe 3.5 mil profit an hour. But bear in mind, this profit then has to be either split between both of you equally, or since I don't really care about getting the money, I would just give all of the loot to the partner. Effectively that way they're making 3 mil an hour for doing not a lot, because Lava Dragons is pretty AFK. If you have the Elite Wilderness Diaries, all your bones will be noted as well, which is nice. So make sure both of you bring looting bags, that way you can store like 56 drops plus 56 dragon bones. Or you can just be lazy like me and not pick up anything except the lava dragon bones, because everything else is too much effort. And duoing this way is a 41.6 minutes per clue. So it's about 42 minutes per elite clue. So that's the way I would do it. Now let's move on. Now fair warning, no method comes close to lava dragons, like at all. We have Venenatis. Again, you can solo and duo it. So if you solo it, you'll get about 30 kills an hour. This is using a safe spot that I watched on a guide made by Syncshot. I'll link that in the description. He helped me out determining the kills an hour for this method. So go give that guide a watch if you want to learn how to do Venenatis properly and really lazily and really easy. So since Venenatis has a 1 in 50 drop rate, again it's in the Wilderness, so you need to wear a Ring of Wealth imbued. So with the Wealth imbued, it's 1 in 50. So if you get 30 kills an hour, that means it's about 100 minutes per elite. or an hour 40 minutes. But what if you have a duo partner? Now, since having a duo partner, a Venatus doesn't speed up the whole time since you still have to wait for it to respawn. You don't get the 76% kill increase like you do at Lava Dragons. Instead, it's about 50% since duoing is 45 kills an hour versus soloing's 30, which brings the time for each elite at 66.6 minutes or 66 minutes and 40 seconds. But Venatus has a way bigger profit margin. So Venatus solo is up to 3 mil profit an hour, and duoing it, since you're getting 50% more kills, your profit will be like 4 mil and upwards, so it's pretty good. Also, you have the pet chance. Now, I warned you, the elite clue scroll methods from now on are not very good at all. I'm going to mention 3 more very quickly since these previous ones I just mentioned are all in the wilderness. So next we have Barrows. This is the next fastest way to get elite clue scrolls. Basically, you're just trying to kill all the brothers and get through the run as fast as possible, so you're not getting KC, and this gives you a drop rate of 1 in 33.75, and you can get 17 maybe more chests an hour with this method, which brings it to about 119 minutes per elite clue scroll, so that's just under 2 hours per elite clue scroll. So Barrows is a solid okay, and it's like 1.2 mil an hour as well profit, so it's not bad. And this is actually what I used back ages ago when Masters first came out, before I did Lava Dragons. Silly me. So this method is like, it can be faster and it can be slightly slower than Barrows, depends on your gear setup and how fast you are. The Volcath has a 1 in 65 elite clue scroll drop rate, and you can kill up to about 33 per hour, which means 33 times 2, that's 66, which brings you just above the drop rate of elite clue scrolls for 2 hours, so just under 2 hours for an elite clue scroll from Volcath. Not only that, but he is also like 3 mil an hour, and you have a pretty good chance at a cool little pet. Cute little pet. And Zora, who is also 1 in 75 for an elite clue scroll, and you kill about 25 an hour, so that brings him in at 3 hours per elite clue scroll. But again, he's not dangerous, same as Volcath, like you're not in the wilderness, and he's also 2 to 3 mil GP an hour, and as the pet. Now, any other boss, like if you can think of any generic Slayer boss, they're all pretty bad for elite clue scrolls, or not even Slayer boss, any boss in general, they're all pretty bad. They'll all be at least like 2 hours. None of them will be under 2 hours to get an elite clue scroll. So again, if I was going to recommend a method, I would definitely say do Lava Dragons with a partner or an ult. Oh, don't mind me, I just want to listen. Who the heck is this? I just want to listen to some RuneScape music. I've been grinding clue scrolls and this video, oh boy, for the past like week solid, so I'm chronically tired, but now we've come to the last section, Master Clue Scrolls. Now, if you didn't know, Master Clue Scrolls, there's 2 ways of getting them. You can get them from rewards from other clue scrolls, except beginner, but you can get them from rewards from the other clue scrolls. Easies are 1 in 50, mediums are 1 in 30, hards are 1 in 15, and elites are 1 in 5. So if you're going for the milestone unique untradeable rewards, do masters last, because you'll get a load of masters from doing the other clue scrolls. But if you're like me and you just like doing master clue scrolls, then this is the best way to do them. Medium clue scrolls, if you do medium clue scrolls very, very fast, you can get a master clue scroll on average in about hour 10 minutes. There's not much else to say. Medium clues are pretty good for master clues. Then after that, the other way of getting master clue scrolls is getting all of the other clue scrolls except beginner and giving them to Watson. In exchange, he'll give you a master clue. So you go to Lava Dragons, that's 40 minutes. Go to Jellies, that's 7 minutes. And then I would just impling the others, so that's like 53 minutes or something to get a master clue. So that's the best way to get master clues. Not much to say really, it's a combination of all the other methods I've just talked about. So I've been working tirelessly for the past week on all these clue scroll stuffs, so I'm going to sleep for all eternity. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've wanted to make it just because so many people in my Twitch stream asked me, what's the best way to get this type of clue scroll? I'm like, I've got the perfect video coming for you. And now here it is. Totally inspired to do clue scrolls. So if I messed up on any of the drop rates or a better method comes out in the future, I will pin a comment of mine to the top of this video, so make sure you check that in case any of these methods are out of date. Other than that, thanks for watching, and a Road to Bloodhound episode should be coming out soon, so keep a lookout for that. It probably won't be called Road to Bloodhound, but it'll be a Road to Bloodhound episode, don't you worry. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed all the Clue Scrolls content so far. Thank you for watching once again. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to be doing some more Clue Scroll stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Ouch.